different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. But
increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovese, and I hope you're joining us every Wednesday here, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn on the Master Connector Show, because we're always bringing you amazing guests. We're going to help you level up. And, we got a lot of shows already booked out. And if you want to see who's coming up, because, look, we want to bring you value. We want to bring you people who have accomplished a considerable amount in their business and their life and bring those experiences to you and to us so we could all level up together. This is about connecting. This is about learning from one another, because a rising tide raises all ships. So go to masterconnector.show and see who we've got coming up. Maybe you can't make every show, but we hope you can. If you can't, go to masterconnector.show, check out who's coming up, and maybe there's somebody who you for sure want to hear from. And not just hear from, but look, this is an interactive show. We want you to be able to come here and share, comment, like. You can ask questions of our guests, of us. Interact with us. We want you to be a part of the show, not just watch the show. We want to know where you're coming from. Sometimes we get people from all around the world. And wouldn't it be great to not have boundaries in your business, to be able to connect with anybody, anywhere, anytime? That's the name of the game here, is create a community. Build your network, connect with people. Today's show, this is going to be great. The power of real connection. All right, so let's talk about connection for a second. Connection on LinkedIn. Hey, it's just a button, right? So you're connected. What does it mean? Nothing. Hey, I know there's people with thousands and thousands of connections, yet no network, right? Because they don't really have a real connection. So we are going to be talking today about what that is, and I'm really excited. Steve and I, look, we're two introverts. We're two former shy guys. And if we can overcome and connect with people and make things happen, so can you. So help me bring him to the show, the Master Connector, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Rob G? How you doing, man? Honestly, it is really about connection. And it's been a great partnership being here with you together. I'm just excited that we get to add value. Like you said, it's amazing. So just appreciate you big time. And thanks for filling in for me this past week. You did a fantastic job.
Thanks.
But what's going on, everyone? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. Listen, this is going to be a great show, and I am excited. By the way, welcome to Holly. I know her and I had a great reconnect call the other day, but I want to just talk about connection, right? Rob mentioned it. It's so important to be connected today. When I was in the lockdown of COVID, I was super, a lot of people were like, they felt kind of isolated. They felt alone. There was disconnection, but I felt the most connected ever. And that was because I was out reaching out. And the biggest thing that I find with connection is, number one, yes, you could have connections on LinkedIn, and that's fantastic. And I've got a lot of them. But what good is being connected if you don't know much about the person? So my feeling is you want to take this off of the platform and get into a call, a Zoom or a phone call, whatever. I'm not a big fan of Google Meets, but whatever. Get outside of the platform and really get to know each other. Because it's like this. If you have a door that's opened and you don't go in, maybe you peek your head in, you don't go in and see what's on the other side of the door, you don't know what's there, right? So go peek your head in and go and walk inside and see what's there, because you never know. That's my favorite line. You never know, right? What a connection can bring. And, listen, we're all seeing this a lot today, right? We're seeing the pitch slapping that's going on. And then the pitches, listen, ditch the pitch. We're going to learn about that today. We're going to see how the value of true connection. And I put a post out today, right? I thought it was Bill Gates who said it, but somebody in the tech world said, listen, the people that master and take that high tech along with high touch will rule the universe, right? And it's not just about the technology. Yeah, there's great systems. I know Troy will talk about some of that you can leverage, and automation and AI. We're a big buzz today on AI and ChatGPT, and that's great. But without the human side, the human connection side, all that, to me, it just falls flat. You have to have that human connection. And you know, as the master connector, right? I could have been called the master networker, but I wanted to be called the master connector because to me, it's about true human connection. And how do you do that? Through being others focused. How do you do that? Also, being, you know, being a go-giver and also being authentic and sharing some of those things and vulnerabilities about yourself. And I try to, you know, be authentic in every platform, whether it's putting out posts or when I talk to people. So we're going to have a great show today. Make sure in the comments, again, I see Holly blasting out, and Yolanda, phenomenal having you here, but I don't want to, you know, delay any further. Let's have Rob G bring up our guest. So if you're ready, type in hashtag let's go, and Robbie G, I'll pass it to you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Steve. We've got a great show for you today. Troy Hippolito is known as the not so boring LinkedIn guy. We could use more of those. He's a LinkedIn influencer and business coach, supporting clients with LinkedIn outreach, virtual event management, and content creation. He teaches how to build relationships with high value clients on multiple channels. Troy's also an award-winning app developer. Please welcome to the show, Troy Hippolito. What's up, Troy?
Hey, you gave a great announcement there. You make me sound better than I feel. So good. Rising the tide, so to speak. So thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Absolutely. Well, it's an honor to have you on here. I know we've been trying to make it happen for a while, so it's good to have you on here. It's an honor, really. But we're pumped. So let's get into it, right? Troy, you know, to me, you know, obviously it's funny because this is interesting, right? And we get this, we see this, right? You get the pitch on LinkedIn, and people like, you know, hey, I want to do, you know, let's do business. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't even know me. You don't even know anything about me. And all of a sudden you're pitching me. That's like going on your first date and asking the person to marry you. Like, come on. Like, I mean,
that's exactly how it feels.
Before you know,
I want to have the house, picket fence, the dog,
yes,
the children.
It's crazy.
And you end up getting slapped. That's why they call it pitch slap. Yeah, that's why they call it. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. So we want to talk about slow dates. So we're going to talk about that. So type in community hashtag slow date. And here's the question for you, Troy, right? How could businesses apply the concept of slow dating to build deeper, more meaningful connections?
Yeah. So let's clarify what slow dating means. So slow dating doesn't mean trying to figure out every little thing about them to manipulate them. A lot of times it's number one, just to get to know them. Of course, we're all in business and you want to target the right individuals, and targeting is a huge part of it. Just like if you were in real life, you want to date someone, you have certain criteria. And when you date that person, you listen. And so when you get to know that individual, a lot of times you want to listen, maybe have a minor meet and greet, and just see if you can solve a particular problem or lessen a pain, excuse me. And so one thing I found that works really well in business is creating a 3-tier value structure. And a lot of people just get into it and they don't connect the dots. Relationships are really about connecting those dots over time and providing value to the other person. So let's talk about value. What's value to the salesperson is buy my stuff. That's not valuable to the other individual. And so you have to figure out what is valuable, what's their immediate pain, how can you solve and lessen that thing. And those 3 different value structures, value number 1 is free. How can you provide free value with the minimum amount of time? Because we're all in business. The second is, how can you have a very low tier value that doesn't cost them much, but it brings them inside your ecosystem? And of course, your 3rd tier value is your high value transaction, you know, and if you break it up in that way, they can go on this journey with you. And through time, they get to know you through your content, through your outreach, to your conversations and things that you solve their problems. And think about this. If you have a meeting with someone and they're talking and they're saying, I'm doing A, B, and C, but I have this, you know what? I don't like this about whatever's happening. And then you hear a pain. If you have the ability to solve it right then and there, you should do that. And so that's how I think you should start these conversations to provide value.
And I'll say this on that note, Troy. It's funny because we're talking about this just this morning. I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on every morning. I'm networking on LinkedIn. To me, LinkedIn is networking. So I'm commenting, I'm talking with people, DMing. Sometimes we hop on Zooms, but somebody posted something along these lines about giving value away. And when I approached networking, before I actually knew what I was doing, as a brand strategist, I would get on with somebody and immediately I would say, I'm going to give you something that you can use tomorrow to make a big impact in your business. And I would give something legitimately great branding tips that people could use. And you know what happened was I would get requests to meet me. And somebody would be like, yeah, so-and-so said I needed to meet you. They said you're amazing and you know what you're doing and all that. So, word gets around and adding that value, but listening. I think the listening part is what you were alluding to, right? Is the listening to people in order to kind of slow date, right? The best dates, right? If you're a guy, you're taking a girl out, you just listen to her. You got it. Deal sealed.
It says sometimes the best thing to do is shut up. Shut up and listen.
Yeah.
It's kind of true.
So so this Master Connector show was kind of to your point about value, Rob. And by the way, I've had the best financial years of my entire life, the last 3 or 4 years. And I believe it's because I've always add value. I've looked to be others focused and just give and give and give. And the law of reciprocity, the law of sowing and reaping kicks in. When you give, eventually you get, and you get back way more than you give, right? So if you're hesitant about giving, know that the universal laws kick in. But here's what happened with Cameron. He likes to tell the story, right? So you're talking about listening, right? So I met thank God, because of Rob G. He invited me to a networking group. At that networking group, physical networking group, I met Cameron. We had a great conversation. We connected. The secret to networking is in the follow-up. So we had a follow-up call. It wasn't a Zoom. It was a good old-fashioned phone call. But I was listening, and he said about him, being frustrated. He's got a small business. And I talked about the book, The E-Myth Revisited, and how you got to learn how to be working on your business versus in your business. He loved it. He got the book, and he speaks about it all the time. And because I added value, and again, adding value doesn't have to be giving away your trade secrets like Rob was talking about, right? There's value there. I mean, no pun intended or pun intended, right? There's value there. But it could be other things. Just find ways by listening on how you can add value. And by doing that, people will absolutely flock to you and they'll be drawn to you. So anyway, let's keep this rolling. I want to talk about personalization a little bit, Troy, and then whatever else you want to throw in about what we're just talking about, because I want to keep this ball rolling. We got so much to cover. You're an incredible resource. We want to pick as much of your brains as possible. So on the topic of personalization, why does personalizing interaction make such a lasting impact in business relationships?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a great question. In the day and age of everything's automated and volume and putting all that stuff out there, even if you have good intention, you may sound a little more like spam or a little more like everyone else. And so you want to avoid that. And when you personalize, the other individual can see the difference between your communication and other people's communication. They know that you spent time as a human to interact with them. One way I do some of my personalization is through I have an application called Scoop that we create, SKOOP. And what it does allows you to do instant video. So even if you have systems and automations and things like that, we create multiple systems out on specific channels. So you have a good, ROI on that. But part of that process is giving a gap maybe after you connect with someone. And instead of pounding them with messages right away, we have a 5 or 6 day gap. But in between that time, we tell our clients, go in there, see who've connected with you, wait a day, give them some breathing room, and look at those individuals and send them a welcome video. And it's 3 lines of text. This is the formula. 3 lines of text, a very short video, 20 seconds to 60 seconds long, and title the video with their name, so it's very customized. And so Scoop does that really well. And what it does, again, is like, oh, I know this is not a super polished video, but it's a real person. And I connected with them. Maybe I should take a look at it. And when they look at it, don't pitch. Like you said, Steve, ditch the pitch, right? I just say, just don't do it. What's the purpose of that is to thank them for connecting. That you could say, hey, Steve, thank you for connecting. I really appreciate it. I took a look at your profile, and I know that you have a show called The Master Connector. So I have a show as well, and I've seen quite a few of your shows. I said, I really appreciate the interviews and information that I've learned from that. You know what? I don't know how I could help you, but I do have a very good network. And I'll say, you know what, Steve, if you have a chance, and only if you have time, take a look at my profile. And if you see anything there worth talking about, send me your booking link and I'll schedule on your link. I'm always open for a conversation. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. And hopefully we'll talk soon. Like, cut it out. And that's
awesome.
it. Yeah. And you have to think logically, the ask is equal to the current relationship. So you have to understand where you are in that current relationship of what your ask is. And that's the key. I converted 6 times more for vetted book meetings for that on that one step. Anyway, I'm done talking.
Because of the video, you mean,
good.
Troy? You converted because of the video, you're saying?
Yes. Okay. Let me give you better context. My welcome messages were getting about a 3% conversion rate to a vetted book meeting. So that's for that one step, not the whole system, just that one step. I moved from 3% to 21%. Okay. That's a 6x conversion. If you're doing high value transactions or sales or relationships, that's huge, because a lot of us smaller companies, we only need 1, 2, 3 clients a month or whatever it is. If you're an IT company, it might be one job every 3 months. And so if you can increase that and you're getting 10, 20 connections in a day, and you can pick out, oh, I don't want to talk to these people because my system will hit them up, but these 5 people, they look good. And so I'll spend my daily process in a little gap of time, and I block it on my calendar, and I will interact with them. And so people want to work with people. And yes, it does convert a lot better.
Awesome.
Great. So one of my fellow speakers said to me that he does a video when somebody connects with them.
Mhm.
And, it makes sense, right? If you're a speaker, right? If you could send a video of you speaking to them, makes more sense. But I think what you're saying it goes well beyond that, right? You don't have to be a speaker to see the value of that. There's a real human connection side of that. And I love what you're doing. And I love the formatting of what you're saying. You're adding value. So you have a lot of connections, right? It's very low key. It's like, look through my profile. If there's anything that stands out to you, think worth talking. I love that. I need to integrate what you're talking about. And I hope, community, you do that as well, because it's quite remarkable what you're talking about. So let's keep this ball rolling, Troy, right? So we want to move in the next direction here on kind of making people remember you, and because obviously the worst thing, I was speaking to somebody today, if you're a sales professional, the worst thing that someone could say to you is, oh, you guys do that? I didn't know you did that. Or, oh man, I wish I had called you because I forgot that you. That's the worst thing you could ever hear as a business professional, right? So let's talk about #remembered, community. Okay. What are some simple but effective ways to ensure people remember and like you after just one conversation, Troy?
Oh, well, I think I mentioned one thing. If someone has a meet and greet with me, they're going to engage and tell you certain things and certain issues. And I may not be the fix it all. I have, my LinkedIn is kind of maxed out on connections. And so I do have a very good network. So what that means is, like, I want to hear and listen to what their pain is. I want to see if I can lower that pain immediately. And then if I can't solve their problem and not charge them, by doing that, you have 3 benefits, and they will remember you for these benefits. Number 1, you solved the problem. You put some good energy out in the universe, and they'll never, ever talk bad about you. The second thing is you reduce their pain or solve their problem, and they look around, they look left to the right, and they say, I got 20 other problems I need Troy to fix, I need Steve to fix, they will hire you. And the third is, not everyone has the budgets to solve these problems, but everyone has a network. You can pull their ticket. You can say, they can say, you know what, I have someone that needs what you have. I would like to run a recommendation or introduction. And other people tooting your horn is 10 times more valuable than you tooting your horn, because it comes from a trusted source they already know.
Love that. Great.
Yeah, I want to, I had a similar experience like Steve was talking about, not being remembered. There's a guy I've known for years, and this guy, I've known him a long time. He's actually a relative of a relative, but in the business world, he gave me an opportunity at one point. And so we knew each other. And, he did something else outside of what we were talking about. And he did other things, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. That's what this is, Italian guy. What do you do? I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So the thing that he told me he did one day when I had something done in my house, he's a contractor of sorts. He goes, I drove by. He goes, did you hire somebody else? I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, I do that. I said, oh, I thought you did this. Why? People only know what you tell them. Mm-hmm. And the average person is only going to retain one thing that you do.
Yes.
And so he told me multiple things he did. So I only remembered the one that my brain remembered. So I didn't recall him or remember him for the thing he wanted. And that was his mistake. It's not on me. I didn't feel bad. I was like, hey, man, I thought you did this. You should have.
You used to say, hey, Uncle John, you're a bad marketer.
You're a bad marketer.
You're the guy that does the little this, a little of that. What's the little this and what a little of that?
Well, speaking of that, one place that people look at is your LinkedIn profile. So what Rob, what you're saying, and I agree, do not be a flea market. So I do other things. I have, I do IT projects as well. I don't talk about it, but I really, on my profile, I talk about having a multi-channel client acquisition system. That's what I'm known for. I'm an inventor of Scoop, but that's part of the system. And so I'm only known for being, the not so boring LinkedIn guy, which, by the way, I'm really boring. That's probably why I said, let me flip that on its head, So your LinkedIn profile, it gives you the first impression. So when people are seeking you out for services, and it's also a marketing channel. I get between 1,700 and 2,000 views a week right on my profile. They're looking at my stuff for a reason. And I'm not trying to convert everyone. I'm trying to convert the people that are the right type of client that I know that I can help convert. So tell what you're doing and focus on one area on your LinkedIn profile.
I completely agree. And I think you came up with the not so boring LinkedIn guy because you wanted to kind of figure out a way that you could articulate that kind of covers a few things, but it's simple. And that's where Master Connector came into play. I have my hands in several things too, and Master Connector is kind of like that general idea. But I completely agree. And so even Master Connector can be a little generic sounding. And so I remember, I was recently I do a lot of networking meetings and Zooms and all that. And, people were like, so you're a Master Connector. So that means you kind of like get paid to connect people, right? And I'm like, no, that's not the case, right? And so I had to start to really
business model. That
it could be, but it's not mine. It's not mine, but I hear you. But I've had the best success financially ever, and because of what I do. So it sort of relates, but not relates. But I don't connect you and get a dollar amount. I know people that do that for business model. I know that. But anyway, my point is, my focus is really speaking. So I started to say, all right, I'm gonna come up with a soundbite that really drives home the idea of speaking. But beyond that, I need to speak about exactly how I benefit people from a speaking perspective, from that human connection perspective, and why I Master Connector and how that relates. So it really is important to, like you said, not be a flea market, but also at the same time, figure out a way in which you can kind of, clearly articulate the benefit of what you do so people are drawn to you. And, you mentioned before about connections and people looking at your profile. So let's talk a little bit about that as we keep this ball rolling, right? So let's talk about connection. Community, type in #connection. And by the way, you guys are doing a great job connecting with each other. I see Wayne connecting with Yolanda, and Holly's in there, blowing up the chat. Great job, folks. Keep up the great work. And Yolanda's commenting on Wayne Wallace, who, by the way, he says he has a great profile. His profile rocks. We'll see that. We'll see if that's true, Wayne. Okay, we'll test that. But anyway, but here's the question, right? On the topic of connection. In this fast-paced digital world, how can professionals create real, authentic connections that stand out?
How can they build? Well, first of all, and this is one thing I learned, is that you're only there to provide help with that individual. And then the second thing is you need to know how to connect the dots. And I'll give you a little story. I have systems that go out to reach out to people, and I connected to a local person, and she owned a physical studio or a place for events. And she wanted me to teach a course and to help her, organize her LinkedIn. And I helped her and I taught a course, right? And so I'm doing my best to actually fulfill a purpose. It's not just a job, but the job at hand is you want to do it well as you can. So be excellent at the jobs that you're doing in order to get to bigger jobs. And after I taught the class, I picked up another client from the class, and that's the power of networking. So although you may have automated systems that go out and they connect and you can build a rapport with one person, that person will inherently connect you with those other people. So a lot of times your main client is not the first person you meet. So being authentic and just solving a problem when possible, and then sharing and being honest with that individual, they can sense that. They say, oh, Troy is a good guy, or Steve is a good guy, Rob's a great guy, and I know I trust them, and I want to invite them into my circle. And by doing that, that's where the real business comes in. So don't know if I indirectly answered your question or not, Steve.
You did great. Yeah, fantastic. So, well, and Yolanda says this: since no two persons or businesses are exactly alike, they should be treated and approached individually. I love that, Yolanda. Great job. Yeah. So listen, we're getting to the bottom of the hour, and I want to make sure that we give you some time here to just talk a little bit about what you're offering our community, and also how the best way to reach you. But this has been an incredible conversation, Troy, and there's so much more we could speak about. Maybe some closing comments, and then if you wouldn't mind, tell our community about what you'd like to offer them.
Yeah, sure. As far as closing comments, I would just say seek the opportunities, and opportunities are where you can assist that individual. And even if you can't help it, if you have someone that can help them, you should connect them. Go that extra mile. As far as what I'm offering the community, I will offer you a free software for a month and a 50% discount moving forward for Scoop. Scoop has changed my entire business, and it works with or without automation. It works with LinkedIn. It works with email, works with other social channels as well. And if you connect with me, or I think I have a booking link, if you schedule that link that is going to be provided, I'll go ahead and I'll walk you through the process. Always here to help. And if we can do things together, the better. Thank you.
That's awesome. Best way to reach you for the community? How would you like them to reach out to you best?
Yeah, they can do one or two things. They could schedule the link that's in the chat, and that will that's a little group meeting, and I'll walk them through it. And or they can just connect with me on LinkedIn. And there's very few Troy Hippolitos. There's another one, and that's my brother. But I'm half Filipino, and he's full Filipino. You can tell the difference. So, and I have a little orange background, so I'm a little more popular on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with
Troy Hippolito too.
Long story, yeah. There's three of us. Actually. His son is
George
Troy.
Foreman. Lots of George Foreman.
Yeah. So his son is actually Troy as well. Just post when you connect with me. Just say that I connected with you, or I discovered you through the show. All right, to the Master Connector show. And by doing that, I will accept, because I don't accept everyone, because of I have to be intelligent about how I grow my network and interact.
Well, we appreciate you, Troy. Thank you. We're going to put you in the green room. Really, you brought the heat and the value for everybody. So appreciate you big time.
Thanks.
See you soon. Thanks again. All right. Well, that was awesome. So good stuff, everyone. Next week, I mean, it's hard to top that, but episode 206 on the 9th, same bat time, same bat channel with Jeffrey Rush. We're going to have Leading from the Heart to Succeed. And it's going to be incredible. So don't miss that. And if you want to learn more, like Rob said, about the future shows coming up, we are booked out all the way into 2026. The site has not been fully updated, but Rob's doing a great job keeping up with stuff. But go to masterconnector.show. And if you're looking to be a sponsor of an episode, not necessarily the whole show, but the episode, you see an episode, you feel it resonates, you want to sponsor, make sure to get on to masterconnector.show, and you can be a sponsor of an episode. But I want to close with this, right? Jesse Eitzler, entrepreneur and co-founder of Marquee Jets, built his success not just through business acumen, but by forging genuine relationships with the right people. Rather than simply pitching ideas, he focused on adding value, which led to game-changing partnerships, including selling his jet card company to Warren Buffett's NetJets. By prioritizing real connection over quick transitions, he unlocked opportunities that transformed his career and legacy. Folks, let's ditch the pitch, right? No more pitching, no more pitch slapping, and always look to add value and create real connections so we can inspire people and continue to shine our light. God bless. See you next week.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives